Hey, good morning. It's Mark here with another morning rant. It's 4:19. Every day, every day it seems like the Republican Party gets bolder and bolder and bolder. And what do I mean by that? They believe, well, they believe that because 2022 is coming around and because they lost 2020, it's inevitable that they're going to win 2022 and that's going to propel them into 2024. Here's what I mean. I want to go so far back as Clinton, but I'll even go maybe Reagan and Carter, but I'm not really sure about those. Presidents lose midterm elections. It's like the American people get buyer's remorse and they want to change and they want a quick change. And I think that's one of the blessings and the curse of being an American, because we've got it in our DNA that it should happen now. And that goes back to the founding fathers when they said, hey, we're going to do elections every 2 years. We're going to elect a president every 4 years. The Senate every 6 years, but we're going to cut those suckers up into thirds so they get elected every 2 years. So that quick turnaround is what we want. We want a quick turnaround. We want quick ideas. That could be helpful and hurtful. And that's a discussion for another day. But because presidents, whether they're Republican or Democrat, because presidents lose midterm elections, and what do I mean by midterm elections? Midterm elections are the middle of the term of the president, and the president serves for 4 years, right? But because the House gets elected every 2 years, the president gets elected, and then 2 years later, you got the whole House going up for election. The whole House and a third of the Senate. And then in another 2 years, you got the whole House and another third of the Senate. You see what I'm saying? So these midterm elections, it seems like Democrats win the every 4 year elections. Republicans win every 2 year elections. So if Democrats were good in their messaging and good in getting people to the polls in the midterms, things would turn around. But because Democrats only vote every 4 years, Republicans seem to control the midterms. So they've gotten bolder or emboldened to believe that, hey, we're gonna win 2022. And I'm not saying that they won't, but they've gotten bolder. So they've come out and they started admitting stuff. They started admitting a lot of things that you normally probably wouldn't admit. And here's one guy, Peter Navarro, who served in the Trump administration, admitting to something about January 6th.
You were the hero on January 6th, Steve. As I say in Chapter 21 of In Trump Time, you were the guy who had the Green Bay Packers sweep strategy to go up to Capitol Hill. Pence is the quarterback. We had 100 people working on the Green Bay team as linemen, halfbacks, and fullbacks, pulling guards, who were going to make sure that we remanded the results back to the battleground states for a couple of weeks so we could get to the bottom of that.
So what do you mean by the Packer sweep? This is the Packer sweep as described by Peyton Manning in the detail. The Packer sweep is Vince Lombardi, I think he's in this. He's going to explain it a little bit. Yeah, he's in here. The Packer sweep is you can tell it's coming. You know it's coming. You can't see what I'm talking about. You can tell it's coming. You know it's coming, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. That's the Packer sweep. They're lined up, and you can tell that the sweep is coming. You can tell that the defense is getting ready for the Packer sweep. And this is the Green Bay Packers. The 49ers ran the Green Bay Packer sweep on them. But watch this.
They're using Vince Lombardi's play to beat Vince Lombardi's team, the Green Bay Packers.
So the defense saw the Green Bay Packers sweep coming, and they tried to prevent it, but they can't.
It's legal. It's hard to swallow. I mean, they're running the Packers sweep. I mean, you need a seal here and a seal here, and we're going to hit it in the alley. I can hear Lombardi saying that right now. What we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley. There's a seal, and there's the alley. Not the best tackling I've ever seen. Ray Nitsch.
So that's what they wanted to do. That's what he's talking about. That's what Peter Navarro was talking about. They wanted to create a seal. Mike Pence was the quarterback. You had politicians, you had Republicans in the House, in the Senate, because in order to contest an election, you need someone from the House, you need a certain amount of people from the House to have a petition up, and you need at least one senator from the Senate. And once they call a state, once the president calls a state and they try to do a vote on it, on those electors, someone stands up and say, hey, I contest. And they say, I have the signatures. Do you have a signature from the Senate? I have 10 signatures. I have one signature from the Senate. And then they take that and they separate for 2 hours. They vote separately on these electors. So the House stays in the House. The Senate goes over. And for 2 hours, they discuss it. It's a mandatory 2 hours. They discuss, they come back, they vote again. And then that way they can prolong the voting process. They can prolong it. They can do this for all 50 states if they wanted to. And if you're breaking every 2 hours to do this for every state, I don't think they're going to do it for every state, but they did it. They were going to do it for the quote unquote contested states, the battleground states. So in by doing that, that can get pressure put on Mike Pence. More pressure put on Mike Pence, more pressure put on the senators in the House of Representatives to try to take this thing back to the states, to take those electors and go back to the states and say, hey, redo this, recount this, recertify this. Because Trump won in a landslide, right? So we know that, we believe that. So go back and test everything. That was their sweep. That was their Packer sweep. They wanted, they didn't even need protesters. Let's go here.
So, in case you didn't recognize it,
and listen, this lady right here. She is the former press secretary of George W. Bush, and she's on a Democrat liberal channel. Because moderate Republicans now, they get pushed out. Michael Steele was the chairman of the GOP. He was the chairman of the Republican Party, the Republican National Committee. Black man, former lieutenant governor of Maryland, I think. Yeah, he was the chairman of the RNC, and he is on MSNBC because moderate Republicans get pushed out of their own party. There's studies or suggestions to believe that Ronald Reagan wouldn't be welcome in his own party.
Was former White House trade guy Peter Navarro last month telling Steve Bannon that he's the hero of January 6th for their joint plan on how to stop the certification of President Joe Biden's presidency, essentially admitting to the coup plot. Now, new reporting in the Daily Beast sheds new light on their operation and how politicians like Paul Gosar and Ted Cruz were in on it. From an interview with the Daily Beast, Navarro says this. Quote, it was a perfect plan, and it all predicated on peace and calm on Capitol Hill. We didn't even need protesters because we had over 100 congressmen committed to it. The Daily Beast reporting.
We didn't even need protesters. That means that, I'm not saying that, because I don't know for sure or anything, but I'm not saying that these people got the protesters there on purpose, but they could have used them as part of their strategy. And Peter Navarro saying we didn't even need them. They were a good side dish, but we didn't even need them because we had the Congress. So in other words, they wanted to do a two-pronged coup. Let's do it legitimately, or quote unquote legitimately, through the rules of the Constitution and getting people to contest the electors. But at the same time, let's do it illegally by getting protesters to storm the Capitol.
Goes on to say this, quote, their hope was to run the clock as long as possible to increase public pressure on then Vice President Mike Pence to send the electoral votes back to 6 contested states where Republican-led legislatures could try to overturn the results.
Didn't I just say that? Didn't I just say that? They wanted to prolong and put this thing back into the House, put this thing back into the Senate, let those guys, if they kept contesting the results for those contested states, and they go back and they separate for a mandatory 2 hours, they can continue to put pressure on Mike Pence to say, let's reject these things and send it back to the states. And Republicans control majority of the state legislatures, to include a lot of the battleground states. So by prolonging this thing, they could have kept pressure on Mike Pence. It's already reported that Mike Pence called Dan Quayle, former vice president of George H.W. Bush, because he didn't know what to do. And Dan Quayle had to tell him, bruh, you got to certify this thing. It's over. So the pressure was working. Again, I'm not saying that I'm going to say all this is alleged, because I'm not saying that Trump, Pence, Peter Navarro, Steve Bannon, I'm not saying that Rafael Cruz, all these guys, I'm not saying that they plotted to start a coup against America. I'm not going to definitively say that right now. I'm going to let the investigation play out. I'm going to read the book. I'm going to read the report, and I'm going to make my own conclusion. Now, we still got time. We ain't got a lot of time, but we still got time, because 2022, they're hoping to get this thing completed and wrapped up by the summer of 2022. Hopefully we get some answers, but Trump is still trying to go to the courts to try to block them from seeing certain documents. There are a lot of people trying to say, "Oh, I'm not going to show up if I'm subpoenaed by the Congress." So it's a lot going on, but it don't look good. It don't look good. I'm gonna leave it right there, people. Today is December 30th. What I like to do is I like to try to wrap up. I like to try to tie up all loose ends as much as it's a little superstition that I have. We'll clean the house. We'll wash all our dirty clothes. We'll do everything that we got to do in the house. Wash the cars. We do everything we got to do to try to start the new year off decent. Start the new year off right, and leave the previous year back where it's at. So, and I'm not going to be philosophical here. I'm just going to say 2021 was a good year. It could have been better, but it was a good year. And let's hope that 2022 is even better. Again, if you made it this far, your time for change is now. Don't procrastinate. Don't wait. Your time for change is now. If you want to make changes, don't say, well, I'm going to wait till the new year to make the change. Start making the changes in your life now. Because a new year don't necessarily mean that you're going to start out fresh. Because the same problems that you had in 2021 are going to roll over to 2022. So take care of what you need to take care of. Any goals that you set for yourself, go do it. Go do it. Hope you guys had a great Tuesday, Wednesday. Hope you guys have a great Thursday today. Hope you guys have a great New Year. Happy New Year. Have a blessed New Year. Those who are still celebrating Kwanzaa, I'm not too familiar with the Kwanzaa celebration. I need to get more involved in it. I need to get more caught up to speed on the education of it. But hey, happy Kwanzaa. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. If you're on Facebook, Go ahead and follow the channel. If you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe. It's free to do that. All you got to do is click a damn button. If you're on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. And if you're on Instagram, I'm there too. I'll holler at you. I'm out. Y'all take care. Stay blessed.